First of all, Ireka Berhad's financial performance for the first 2 years, which are 2018 and 2019, of the period saw a minor improvement, which is 1.11 ringgit and 4.47 ringgit for the current ratio. So from this improvement, we can see that the corporation is better in handling the cash to pay its short-term obligation as a result of this situation. On the other hand, the earning per share (EPS) and dividend per share (DPS) for Ireka Berhad in these years show a negative rise. Specifically, the EPS of the company decreased by negative 9.11 cent and the DPS decreased by negative 15.26 cents. For the next 2 years of performance, the company's projected current ratios for years 2020 and 2021, which come in at 0.81 ringgit and 0.76 ringgit respectively, and unfortunately lower than those of the preceding years, which are 2018 and 2019. For the earning per share and dividend per share, the EPS and DPS for these years have both reduced, with the EPS coming in at negative 13.94 cent for 2021 and 31.37 cent for 2020 respectively, while the DPS in 2020 is 0 cent and will remain at 0 cent in 2021 as well. So from the perspective of the shareholder, we can say that they have a negative assumption as the pandemic hit our country in 2020, so they will reduce their investment to the company for the future of the company.
This is the trend of dividend per share of Ireka Corporation Berhad. It started with 2 cent in 2018, fall to 0 cent in 2019 before stay constant until 2021. There are 3 possible factors that may lead to zero dividend payment from 2019 to 2021. Firstly, Ireka Corporation Berhad might want to use more funds to grow its business. Therefore, holding the dividend payment for its shareholders is one of the ways to get more funds. Secondly, Ireka Corporation Berhad might struggle financially and dividend payment are only prioritized for its preference shareholders and deprioritized for its common shareholders. Thirdly, Ireka Corporation Berhad might pay its shareholders with other forms of dividend payment, which are stock dividend and stock split.
In 4 periods from 2018 to 2021, the financial performance of Nestle Malaysia Berhad had slightly decreased, which is 228.13 and 205.49 for the current ratio. This shows that the company has less ability to generate cash to meet their short-term obligations. However, the earnings per share and dividends per share for the current periods show a positive increase, which is 281 cents and 287 cents respectively in the current periods for the EPS, while for the DPS, 275 cents and 280 cents. One of the reasons Nestle Malaysia Berhad can achieve this is because the investments that made by the company amounted RM 180 million for the new products reported by BH Online in May 2019. For the next current period in 2020 and 2021, the current ratio shows by the company is less than the previous year. For the EPS and the DPS reported by the company, 235 cents in 2020 and 243 cents in 2021 for the EPS, while for dividends per share, 280, which is same from the previous year, and 232 for the 2021. One of the reasons this situation happened in these companies might be the expectation of the shareholders during the pandemic situations that will not give them any benefits to invest in.
If we look at Nestle Malaysia Berhad, their dividend payment over the 4-year period is a downtrend. It decreased from 2019 to 2021. Several factors that may influence Nestle Malaysia Berhad dividend payment for the last 4-year period. For the firstly is a pandemic effect. A lot of industries were shut down during the pandemic effect, thus decrease the company's profits. Secondly, the expectation of investors. And lastly is the availability of cash. It means that if the company has a lot of cash after deducting the operating expense, so the dividend payment can be high.
As a conclusion, we can see that an increase in dividend is often seen as a positive development and performance, since it suggests the company is optimistic about its future. Nestle Malaysia earned a 4-year positive dividend per share, but Ireka Berhad had a 0 cent dividend per share from 2019 to 2021. It is due to their respective industry, consumer product for Nestle Malaysia and construction for Ireka. Also, data from each company's annual report is used to evaluate its performance. Financial ratios are a quick and straightforward approach to measure a company's financial performance. That's all from our group. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.